guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here quickly to do an update of a few new items in my shop. I may need to do this in two videos. I'll kind of see how I get on really. So I have got a couple of sets of new printables, and I also have a little mini kind of junk journal, and I've got another couple of junk journals as well. So we'll see kind of how far we get, you know, kind of how much I can do in this video. So I will start with quickly the printables, because they're probably the quickest thing to show. So I did mention a couple of weeks ago that I had got these absolutely amazing images of ladies' fashion from kind of days gone by. I think it was 18th century fashion pages and things, fashion prints. So I have obviously made these little kind of journaling cards up. Now I just want to kind of point out that some of them have got a kind of faint outline in the background, which you can probably kind of see there. Now this faint background, it was on the originals. So I think what's happened is kind of over the years they've been pressed together against, you know, one another, and the actual kind of print has begun to rub off on the other picture, if that makes sense. So this one here has got a kind of outline of an image behind it. So I just want to kind of point that out. It wasn't kind of something that I did. That's how the originals were. I mean, obviously they are vintage, they are kind of incredibly old. So, you know, I guess you'd kind of expect one or two things, but some are kind of worse than others. This I think is the worst one, so if you can kind of pick that up. These also have kind of a bit of an outline. This seems to have no outline, that has no outline. And these, just this one I think kind of seems to have, you know, any significant outline. I mean, I kind of feel that that could be covered up. You could kind of do some script stamp or something, kind of, if that worried you, and that would kind of cover that up quite neatly. So moving on, the first of the digital items are obviously these images, you know, from the vintage fashion plates, as they're kind of called. So basically you've got 3 pages. So you've got 2 pages of these kind of journaling cards. I have outlined them in a kind of dark grey just so it's easy to cut. I just also have just noticed there's a kind of black spot kind of round about here on my camera. I'm assuming it's on the lens and not on my back screen. Obviously if it's on my back screen, great, you're not even aware of it, but it may be that it's actually on the screen, so I just want to kind of point out that that seems to be something on my camera. Right, anyway, so back to the actual printables. So you've got the first 2 pages with the kind of journaling cards. So there are a total of 14 journaling cards there. So that's those, and then all these gorgeous images of these ladies. I left them plain rather than decorate them, because actually sometimes I like things kind of plainer so that I can decorate them. You know, so hopefully you will feel that. I have printed these onto cream cardstock or ivory cardstock, and these ones I've printed onto white cardstock. So that's kind of the difference there, just to kind of give you an idea. And then the third page of the download, I have just made a collage of the ladies' fashion pages. So I just thought this would be absolutely gorgeous in a journal, obviously kind of folded, you know, as a kind of page in itself in a journal. So I have obviously printed this borderless, and for the first time ever I've actually seemed to achieve that. So I've included that. So it's a 3-page download, and it's a collage, and obviously 14 different journaling cards. So that's my digital download number 1. Digital download number 2, this is some Matchbox Tops that I bought recently. So there are loads of these different images. In fact, I didn't actually count them up, but basically I have done a 13-page download. So I mean, I think it presents, you know, really good value for money, because, you know, it's 13 pages, and basically they're all the original kind of images. I have kind of left them tatty around the edges where they were tatty around the edges, because I thought, you know, then it adds flexibility if you wanted to keep them kind of. And then what I also did, and you will see me kind of talking about this in another video, whereby I do a tutorial or a process video for kind of altering paper clips, which I found these Matchbox Tops to be absolutely awesome for. But I actually talked about the fact that when I first printed these, my ink was running out of my printer. So they came out very faint. I thought they were just absolutely awesome like that. So what I did was obviously scanned in the faded printed version, and I have also included those. Now there were only 2 pages unfortunately at that stage, so basically what you've got, I know this is a bit confusing, the first page of Matchbox Tops you have got in 2 different colourways like that, and the second page you also have in 2 different colourways, kind of a faded one and a kind of brighter one. And then the remaining pages are obviously, you know, the Matchbox Tops as per their original colours. So that's kind of those. So I'm just kind of going through them. So as you can see, there's absolutely loads here. And I just thought, actually, I'm going to include the entire range, you know, 13 pages, because obviously then you can print out the pages that you want, you know, according to the journal that you're making. And it gives you a bit more flexibility. So, you know, obviously rather than have to print out the whole 13 pages, I just thought once you've kind of purchased the item, it's downloaded, you can then just pick the pages that you want to kind of have a play around with. So that's those. And then I'll just quickly show you the last 3 pages. So this page here, these are the original Matchbox Tops. And then there were a couple of larger ones. So there's these kind of couple of slightly larger ones. And then there was this huge one from obviously those kind of boxes of kitchen kind of matches, which I thought was absolutely awesome for a pocket. So I have included that on there. And then I was inspired by that. So I just took a couple of my favourite images from the matches, and I have enlarged those to also kind of give you a bit of flexibility there for creating pockets and things. I just thought these were really, really, really nice images. So, you know, I just thought I would give you some of those, which, you know, they're just kind of bundled in with the 13 pages then. So, you know, I thought they were kind of a bit of fun really. So feel free to kind of check them out in my Etsy. The next item here, this is a mini kind of journal. It was obviously intended as a little mini album, and then I have altered it into more of a journal. So basically I have remembered my tape measure. It is teeny, it's 3.5 inches by just over 7 inches. It's not hugely chunky. I tried not to go quite so mad today, or not today, but the day I made it. It's 2 inches at the widest point, so it's a little bit more kind of doable kind of than some of my journals where I love them so chunky. So it's been bound on my Bind It machine, and it is just secured closed with some coffee dyed lace, and this is very dark coffee dyed, so it was kind of very strong coffee solution, so I thought it looked really great. And then on the cover here, I have got scrapbook paper. It's a hard cover, just some card. And it's scrapbook paper, and then it's layered up with a kind of collage of lace, some fabric, some sheet music, some ribbon trim, some of the lace here that kind of obviously matches the lace that's tying it closed. A couple of those Matchbox Tops, which I just thought went really nicely. One of my little die cut printables. And then here I've just got a little charm hanging, which is just a clock, and that's just on some ball chain. I have Mod Podged all of the paper items, so you know it's kind of durable there. And then the back is just the plain scrapbook paper. It's all been distress inked and Mod Podged over that. And then going inside the journal, on the first page I've just got here, I left plenty of room for journaling. I've got some fabric, one of my little die cut pieces, a little bow and some lace trim, and another one of my little printables, which have just distress inked it all up and just pops in like that. Then here, this is one of the Matchbox tops that I was talking about that I kind of made larger into kind of a pocket, or, you know, whatever you wanted to use it as. And as you can see on here, I've actually used it as a page in itself. So obviously I've just bound it into the journal and I've distress inked it all up, and then I've just added one of my little fabric kind of embellishments there with a stamped image on the back. Then here on this page, another one of my little printables, and that is tucked in here to one of my little fold out pieces. So that just is literally tucked in like that, and it just opens out like that, so more journaling space there. And obviously that just tucks in there. Got some more of that lace trim. You've got some sewing pattern paper around the edge and a little flower that I've really inked up. I tried to make this really grungy and really inky, so you know, I really like it. This is one of my ladies kind of that I've just shown, obviously, of the printables. So again, she's just kind of plain and just distress inked her up. She just kind of slots in down the side there. And then here, going over the page, I've got another flower that I've really heavily distress inked. I've got one of my little die cut pieces and a little kind of, it would have been a kind of photo mat, but I mean, obviously you could use it as journaling or photo mat. Lots of lace down the side, and then some more sewing pattern, bit of kind of paper there. And then tucked into there, this is another one of my die cut pieces, and I've just printed it onto vellum. And then I've just made a little pad here with some lace trim. And that just kind of, sorry, not a pad, a flip out, and that just unfolds like that. And that's just coffee dyed paper. So I thought that was kind of fun. And I quite liked it hooked over so you could kind of see the image. Then I've just got some coffee dyed paper, a couple of sheets, some of this lined ledger kind of sheets, some sheet music, and some more paper there, a bit of ribbon down the bottom. And then here I've just got a little kind of pocket made from an envelope. It's got a little fold out flip, and this is some vintage kind of, I think it's called fly sheet, the inside pages of a book, some doily, little kind of heavily distress inked flower, another one of my die cut printables, some lace there. And then I made a little kind of envelope out of some vintage book page, and I just popped in a couple of my little printables there, which are these tickets, and that's the size that they come. So they just kind of slot neatly into there. That just goes in like that. Then tucked down the side, this is one of my little printables, and it's printed onto that buff coloured card. That just goes in there. And then on the next page, I've just created a little belly band, and I've kind of double belly banded it, if that makes sense. So I've got the scrapbook paper as belly band, and then I've also got one of my little die cut printables creating a further belly band. So tucked behind the first one, I have glued this page on here to kind of act as a little opening kind of flip there, so you can write on there. And then inside the kind of back larger belly band, that's one of my little journaling cards that I've just distress inked that up. Thought went nicely with the journals. That goes in there. And then here I've got another one of my little die cut pieces, which just goes into that one. Then I've got a flower and some lace. Then here I've got another one of my little die cut pieces, and there's another one which again I've printed that on vellum. Here's a vintage playing card, and again it's kind of in the blues, so I thought that kind of went nicely. This is just a sheet of vintage, I can't remember now whether it was bridge, a vintage game anyway, so that's that. And then here I've just created a little tiny corner pocket, layered up one of my die cuts, and in there I've just popped a little pad that I've just made there and just kind of stapled it out the top. That just slots in. And then here you've got either a photo mat or kind of journaling space, and tucked in there again I've just got a little tiny kind of flip out with some coffee dyed paper, and that just holds shut behind this ticket there from again my printables. So that's there. And then on this page I've got some sewing pattern paper, made a little book page pocket. I've popped in a little printable there, another printable here, some scrapbook paper, bit of stamping going on, and some lace, bit of lace at the top. And then just in the side, another one of the Printables there, just goes in like that. And then on this one, I have just done a kind of, just a tie-up thing, because I love my tie-up bits. And basically what I've done is kind of attached a little pad to the side. So under here you've got kind of journaling space here. And then here I've created a little kind of pad, just from the bottom of some book pages, which I've obviously kind of stapled all that together. And then on the front you've got just some lace trim, and then to hold that closed, it just ties closed like that. So I just thought it was kind of a nice way to add some more journaling without kind of bulking the book out too much. And then here's a couple of my die cuts and a lace doily, and then another one of my Printables there just tucks in like that. So you've got lots of journaling space on here. Here I've just got a double book page pocket, so one is some sheet music and one is some book page. Again, I've stamped it up, and I've just got a couple of my Printables there as a journaling card, some lace trim down the side and some faux diamante. Then here I've got one of the altered paper clips. So again, hopefully I will upload my paperclip tutorial and you will kind of see how I did these, but I'm sure you've probably all seen them, you know, before on other people's videos. So this is just one of my Printables, and it's got some coffee dyed lace, and then it's just kind of attached there. And that's just got this little fold out here of some of my Printables that I just kind of folded this up to create a kind of book there. So that just clips on the top. So that's just coffee dyed paper, some sheet music, ledger, and some more coffee dyed paper. And then on this one you've got here, which would have been a kind of photo mount, but obviously you could use it for journaling. You've got another die cut and another flower, some lace trim down the side, some book page, and this lovely ribbon there that I've just kind of distress inked that to kind of go with the feel of the journal. And then another one of my little journaling cards. This was a vintage postcard one. That just goes in like that. And then here on the last page I've just got a book page corner pockets here with some stamping, and inside there I've just taken a couple of my little Printables, one on vellum and one on just cardstock, and then I've just kind of held them together with a brad with some sheet music and a couple of sheets of the coffee dyed ledger paper. So you've got kind of, you know, room for journaling there, and obviously it's just held together with a brad, so you could always kind of undo the brad and journal and then kind of put them back. Here you've got what would have been a photo mount, but obviously you could use it as journaling space. And then tucked in the side, another one of my little Printables, just printed onto buff coloured paper, and then a butterfly in the corner. And then here on the inside of the back cover I've got some lace trim down the side, another couple of those gorgeous Matchbox Tops, which I just obviously distress inked them up and layered them onto some kind of vintage book page, and then some sheet music here. And I did them both as a little tuck spot, so going opposite directions, one that side and one that side. Taken another one of the vintage lady kind of journaling cards. I think if I recall I did actually print these slightly smaller. No, I didn't. I was lying, I think. I thought I had actually printed them smaller, but actually I think they are indeed the right size. So that's kind of that, and I've just distress inked it all up. I tried to make it very grungy, so everything's very distressed in this journal. So that tucks in the first one, and then here tucked in the second one, it's just one of my little vintage tickets from some of my Printables there. And then I've just got some diamante trim down the side and a little flower, and then a lace piece and a bow. So that's the whole book. So for such a teeny book, I think it has a fair amount of kind of journaling. It's got quite a lot of kind of pull-out tags and booklets and what have you. So I think you've, you know, got kind of maximised the space for journaling, even though it is a tiny book. So I hope that you liked it. I thought it was just kind of super fun and really cute. So I'm going to come back probably another time with my other two journals. So I'll just give you a kind of sneak preview of them. so they're these two. There's a large one and a smaller one. I'm probably going to call them my Forest Friends journals. They're both super grungy and yeah, kind of super love them actually. So I should probably have to do that video tomorrow or maybe even at the weekend now. So hopefully I will, you know, not be too long kind of before, oops, sorry, bit of paper there hanging on there. Hopefully not too far away until I actually kind of manage to do the videos on these. But yeah. So I hope that you enjoyed this rather waffly kind of flip through. And yeah, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And obviously all of these items are in my Etsy shop now. Hopefully these two are as well, so you could see some more pictures of those too. And yeah, I shall be back shortly. So thanks very much for tuning in and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks a lot. Bye.